Let me start by sharing the screen. Okay. Okay. Here is the draft agenda for today. We have two major agenda items. One of them, the first one is basic income approaches with and without the use of adjectives, and some thoughts on basic income from sustainability perspective. This presentation will be made by our dear friend Eric Gregor Szabo from Hungary. And the second one is a draft model of a People's Assembly for UBI. Paul will try to join us, but he had some other complications. But what we thought is that we will put it into the agenda. If he can join us, he will make the presentation. If not, we will do it in the coming meetings. And also there's another survey, it's an ongoing survey regarding the future of our meetings. It's a very small, very simple one. The deadline is 5th of January. We extended the deadline. Maybe we can talk about the questions of this survey very quickly, very simple, very short one. And of course, if there are any news from working groups and from UBI advocates and UBI networks, they're all very welcome. This is the draft agenda. Do you have any proposals or any additional agenda items you would like to add, or do you have anything to say about the agenda, dear friends? As far as I see, no. So we can start with our dear friend Eric Gregor Szabo. Dear Eric, the word is yours.
Yeah.
Let me mute all. Okay, you can unmute yourselves. Eric, please unmute yourself. Would you please?
Yes, yes, okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
yes, we
okay.
can.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Ali. Thank you for this possibility to be here and for having me. But my first question would be, how much time do I have?
I mean, I guess you will finish in half an hour.
I will need about 35 minutes, 35, 40 maximum.
Yeah, yeah, we are here to listen.
But I will use the time.
Okay, okay.
I will use the time. I cannot, because I cannot finish. Then that's why I was asking, you can put Paul before me, but I will need this time now.
Okay, let's start, Eric. We better not lose time.
Okay, we have enough time, I think.
Yeah, we have enough time.
Okay, okay, I start then. I go off to their screen because I cannot share. Okay. Here we are. Okay, here we are. Can you see the first picture here? Can you see it?
Yes, everything is okay. Everything is okay.
Okay, so this will be my presentation. The first 2 parts, basic income approaches with or without, but Ali mentioned it already. And the second part would be about basic income from sustainability perspective. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I started about 2003 with basic income. I was involved very much in the green movement here in Hungary. And so we had our workshops for deep ecology, and then slowly we started to occupy us with this new topic, basic income. So this is my content. The first will be a short introduction, then a terminology, etymology as well, but mainly terminology about what is basic income and how can we approach it from more linguistic point of view. Then I will speak a bit status quo. What is the status quo? and a forerunner of basic income. Then I come to the point, this social sustainability goals, number 18. We had this discussion on the internet. And then I will introduce a person called Miklos Magyar. He's a Hungarian economist, not very well known in Hungary, unfortunately. And then we come, this is the NÁDASDY 5-pillar. I will talk a little bit about that. Nature, health, knowledge, culture, economy, and local. And our new model, called MALAP income. Yeah, there's a lot of incomes already. So why should I not invent another one? So my income model. Also, can we go start? We start with this quotation. Quality means doing it right when no one is looking. So I think the quotation very often used, so we can think about it a little bit. What quality is, and why is quality so important in our work, in our life? And so what is quality? Quality is something you are doing and nobody's looking, when you're really inside with your heart, and you are not doing it for promotion, acknowledgement, or recognition or something. It's come from your inside. You want to do something good, and that is quality. Quality is, of course, very good for the environment and as well. This is a little bit my introduction still. The word improvement is not a product. And then you remember we were talking about this African proverb, the young man walks faster than an old man, but the old man knows the way. This is important for my presentation, this little quotation. That's why I had to show it again twice. The next part is, now we are starting a little bit with this terminology. And in English, it's 2 words, isn't it? Basic is already an adjective, and income. In German, you have this Einkommen, and there is a new word already, is as Auskommen. Talk about this later. In French, it's a revenu de base. Revenu is an interesting word in French as well, and in Hungarian, it's called alap. Malap is the word basic is in the malap. So then you have all these kinds. You have universal. It could be universal, but it must not be universal. It could be local, unconditional cash, but it can also be something else. Yes, I'm thinking now of, it could be also Vatican currency, what I'm doing, and periodical is a point. Yes, you can say it could be paid daily or monthly, even annually. Or there was a proposal from a Hungarian economist in 1988 to pay it once, just once. You get the whole money, you get your whole basic income in one time. And my idea about that is later, we can do that also a little bit. You can, the person could choose what kind of periodical basic income he wants. Then it's individual, you know that. So it's not bound to family or so. And what is interesting is that the guarantees word is not so often used anymore. Yes, you remember 10 years ago, it was a big, guarantee. So garantiertes Grundeinkommen in German. So that is a little bit, it's not so used anymore. And then you have the type of partial basic income. You have this in 1996, this was this Atkinson, this participational income. Yeah, so I have your all kinds of income and all kinds of names. What is important is, of course, is the no means tested. Yes, that is very important for us as well. We can go to further. So the moon, the landing on the moon in 1969, yes, they were already looking for the planet B. And no, this is just a joke. Oh, yeah, you know, they say in the movement, in the climate movement, they say there is no planet B, but maybe there is. It's just a joke. So that was a great event, you remember, yes? And then a little bit more of a problem later. So now I will going to speak a little about the status quo. So the existing state, what we have now, they say in Hungarian, the von Állapot, or in der Ist-Zustand. And this is a little bit, yes, ostrich policy. Almost everywhere worldwide, maybe Bhutan is the only country, say, a world where there's not so much of this, where it's not so, but if you look at the present politics, wherever you go, wherever you see, it's mainly this ostrich everywhere. For instance, our president, not Orban, the other one, we have two other, he is very much involved with the climate change movement, and so he was in Paris, and he's very active. But the problem is, the street where I live here in Budapest, there is a 6-star hotel in my street, and in the same street, people are looking in the dustbin for food. So there is a huge difference between the classes. Now the 6-star hotel is closed already, you know, because of COVID. But closed, but it's not really well working. But you see, and our president, Ader János, is always focusing on other problems, but he should more concentrate on Sylvester. He will have a talk in the television, and he will say that we have to be solidarity is so important. But I think it's all this ostrich policy. You know, you are looking for something else. Don't want to look at the real problems. Okay, let's go on. Bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is really a huge problem. I think our basic income movement is mainly also use bureaucracy. We want to, and that is why we thought all the possibilities, basic income would be really a good solution to reduce bureaucracy. And I'm now starting to speak about all the other problems. One problem is bureaucracy, but there is a lot of problem within status quo. So let's go further. Feud in English, yes? You have this everywhere. In every country, there is no exception, but even in our movement, I'm really surprised about that. What happened? Feud. People are really not cooperating. They don't want to cooperate. They don't want to help each other. There is rivalry. I have said this in my level. We have to work on this. Why? Because, in fact, basic income is a vision where solidarity is so important. So how can we present this vision if we are not solid, if there is no solidarity without our movement? So we can only preach what we are living. You know, there is a good word in German, Vorleben. There's a good word for this in German. That is, you have to be the example. As you have to be the example, as Gandhi said, change you want to see. Okay, but I don't want to go too further because here I have to look at the time table. So this is a very good quotation I used often. It's connected. You are as you are, so is the world. So you are the world as you are, and it's also for our movement. As we are, movement. It's the same thing, you can say that. Yeah? So we have to think about this. If we want to have a change, then we have to think about this. So it's a very good quotation. Now, this little girl, how dare you? So she is a little bit strange. She speaks very good English, I know that, but I think she's not a very well person. But her English is very good and impressive. But there was Severn Suzuki in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro. She was the forerunner for Greta Thunberg, and her English was also very, very good. But in her speech, there was a little mistake in it. If you listen to it carefully, you will find a little mistake. She said, so I was in Rio in 1992 in front of the United Nations. Oh, what a pity. I used to walk along the river in Canada, where she lived, where she is from. And then the water was so polluted that she couldn't go for fishing anymore. And that was a bit strange, that a really environmental person does not go fishing. This is deep ecology, does not go fishing. So, but anyway, Suzuki is a very nice person. She's very active in the green movement until today. She's about 40 years old now. But I have my problems with Greta Thunberg. I have still my problems, my opinion. This is a kind of deflection. Unfortunately, this is a deflection, like I said. So I go further. We come to that 17 goals of sustainability. What is a sustainability? If you see it, then you will find that there is a little gap, and we all know that. And if you have a closer look, you will see that all these points, it's old stuff. In the UN Declaration of 1946, almost the whole is in it. Maybe there may be climate change was not there at the moment. There was not a discussion in 1946, but almost all the other points were there. So there is something missing and so here we are. A missing gap with number 18, universal basic income. So that was a very good work from Frank in Holland. Thank you very much from here for doing that. There was really a little gap, but my position is I would say let them decide whether they want to use this adjective universal or they want to leave it out. They can say, okay, just basic income without universal. But I mean, universal would be okay in this case. United Nations, a good name for it. But we have, as I said, we have to be careful with using we have to be careful. The movement has to be careful with using adjectives. Okay, point of view, because I was very much involved in environmental issues in Hungary, and I was very active at the time, and I'm still active. So you see, basic income, number 9, goal 18 would be basic income, but from my point of view, noise pollution is still not in there, but it's a big problem, very big problem. Number 20 could be the pollution from and with light. And a friend of mine went to Johannesburg in 2002, where, you know, Rio plus 10. And I was asking him, when he came back to Hungary, I was asking him, so how was it going there? What was it interesting? What about noise pollution? And then he said to me, there was a lot of silence concerning you. So, but in Hungarian, it sounds very funny. It's something in English, it sounds not so funny, but it's actually, it's not funny, because now of Rio plus 20, and speak about that problem. So I hope Rio plus 13, so in 2 years later will be better. You can see that is the problem we have. So you can hear that Budapest is very, very noisy. Now there's a lot of noise pollution in Budapest, but it's worldwide. So he comes, this man, Miklos Magyar, was an Hungarian economist and politician. He's not very known in Hungary, that is, even in academic, university, academic circles, he's completely unknown. I know very few people who knows him about his books, and very few people. It's very strange. So he was already mentioning, but in the connection with basic income is also very important, I think. But he was also already, he was occupied with a problem pollution. Then we have, of course, we have the light pollution, goal number 20, I call it. And then I go further. Then we come to the topic, sustainability perspectives. Ecological sustainability is more a kind of duty that according to deep ecology, yes, we all have identity. So Arne Nass, we have from Norway, and John Seed said, and then we have social sustainability, social rights, economical sustainability. In Finland, Guy's standing speech was about economic rights. That the 21st century will be focusing more on economical rights than in the 10th and 20th century. Social rights, future orientation and that is very important, you know, because I disagree a little bit here with Hilda. Hilda Latt, not only a tool. Goal number 18 is not only a tool, it's much more than that to realize the 17 goals. It's also about the future as a selfish society, and then is the book which I recommend to everybody, Adrian Goerler. It's very new, this book, Sustainability Needs Deceleration. In Germany, the Entschleunigung, Entschleunigung. Beschleunigung, yes, in German. Das deceleration, we need that. It's very important. So I continue. Then I come to NÁDASDY 5 pillars. That is which health, knowledge, culture, economy, and MALAP is my project, my model, or our model, let's say, I'm not completely alone, about of basic income. NÁDASDY, to mention Ferenc, NÁDASDY Ferenc was also an economist, Hungary. He lived in Canada, then he came back to Hungary, and he had an ecological academy here. He founded an ecological academy. So it's not so much, we all know that it's very connected to ecology, basic income also. That the whole 17 goals, or let's say now 18 goals with basic income, they are all interconnected with each other and depending. I wouldn't say that the one is a goal, is just a tool or mean for the others. I wouldn't say they are somehow holistically connected with each other. Health is of course, then you have social health. You have also not only physical and physical and your body. So you have at least 3 kinds of health. Knowledge also very important, that we have to reflect on that. What is actually knowledge? Knowledge is not science. We have to be careful. Knowledge is much more than science. Culture, also very important issue. Cultural rights. You can find this already in the 1946 Declaration of the United Nations. So here's a concept. Okay, we have in 2021 we will have this Eucharistic Congress in Budapest because in 2020 we couldn't arrange it. So they have delayed it on 2021. There will be, hopefully, and at least online. If we have still problems, then it will be online, but it will be a good opportunity to have some networks worldwide. The last Congress was in 1938 here in Budapest. Economy. Now I will come again to favor economist, a Hungarian economist. I will speak a little bit about him. And so don't worry, I have, how much time do I have still, Ali? Roughly.
You better continue.
Okay, thank you. I'm almost finished. So 70%. So you see, this is a very in the organization of economy. Man, we are machine, money, management. By the way, Madách Imre is the Hungarian, we would say Hungarian Goethe from Hungary. And then money can be with interest or interest-free. And then according to the books, if you read the books from Götz Werner or Adrian Göhler, they have one book, I think a couple of years ago, there was one book they have, this cooperation was a very good book. So the first world creation was with the organic world, anorganic, then organic world, animal, man, and the last one is the machine. So I come to Miklos Magyar. I consider him, I would say he's the founder of GMI. GMI, Guarantee Minimal Income. I think he's the first one who wrote, and the guarantee minimum income was a forerunner for basic income. We have to see that in a historical, in an evolution of there is an evolution, and guarantee minimum income was somehow a forerunner. And I can show you in his book, New World Without Poverty, written in 1946. It's very interesting, declaration of the United Nations of Human Rights. And he, in his book, already mentioned this, that the minimum income to ensure physical existence is a natural right for all people. So it's a very interesting that he's already mentioned it. And okay, let's continue. Yeah. As we say in Hungarian, ita reklam helye, that means in Hungarian, now I can make a little bit of reklam. This is my book, it's a project. It will be, the title will be something like Basic Income. And the Picture Association is in Budapest, in Paris. So, and you see it on the land, Malap is Malap Jövedelem. It's a Hungarian, means this income, which is in our mind. Then I'm almost finished. That is the last. It's an activist for human rights, an activist for human rights from the Frederick Douglass. He says, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. I think he's right. That's why we are here, and we try to struggle, we try to fight for it. Let me say something more about, for me, basic income is also a vision. And a vision, I like visions. And sometimes I find people who have find them very boring. And I think so basic income is something like a vision. And I hope that we can find good strategies to spread the idea. My last slide comes. So thank you very much for your attention. Human dignity, ecology, basic income, and goal 18. It's just a coincidence that Malap is, because Magyar means Hungarian, but it was his name. Miklós' name was Hungary. Miklós Hungary, but this was a coincidence. But if the people say, oh, your standpoint is very nationalistic, so it was just because I say Magyar alapjövedelem, but Magyar, who called Magyar Miklós, and I refer very often to him. So I call it Malap income. Felicias Norian, no, I don't speak Esperanto, but this is in Esperanto. Happy New Year. Buek is Hungarian, Boldog új évet kívánok, and in German it's Frohe neues Jahr. So that was my presentation. I stop share screaming, you know.
Thank you very much, dear Eric.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's quite good, and only 30 minutes, very nice, or even less than 30 minutes. Dear friends, do you have any contributions or questions? I tried to read some comments in the chat box, but would you like to share verbally too? Any friends who would like to? Nobody? Can I ask two?
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, Eric, what do you understand from universal? I mean, I think there is a problem with, I mean, it's being confused, universal and global. Yes. This is something I would like to ask to you.
What do I understand? Okay, what do I understand with universal? What do I ever?
Yeah, to you and also to our friends.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, because this universal was also very difficult for me to understand, because we understand it differently. We understand it as global, but then I heard better in me saying it's a universal meaning. It is the same for everybody, same amount, same everything for everybody. So that's why I try to use global for universal. But for us is, for example, unconditional and very, very important matter, because unconditional here means, because people here who get benefit, they also have to show physical, their physical status, if they're paralyzed or whatever, that is people who need some support. So that is why we put a lot of effort on. You don't have to be one-eyed and lame or whatever to receive the income that you need. But I was one thing I really want to talk to you about. I think this 18th goal is a brilliant idea, but I think a brilliant idea, just like bad idea, with discussion, we can come up with something that is even better, because I think that UBI is the only way those goals can ever be reached, because these are goals. Goals come true, you have to have the means to do it. And who is going to make those goals come true? It is not the United Nations, it's not America, it's not anybody but the man, the humanity, that cannot be working without UBI. All the manpower all around the world can be ignited with the UBI. So I see UBI as the center, as the sun, as the tree of life, making the goals come true. And we can do it. We are the cheapest power anywhere. And that means the humanity should do it. So that's why I think that I would personally, if I would run this show, I would not take it as the 18th goal, but as the center in the circular picture as the means. It touches every single of those 17 goals. And we have to show and put very much effort on showing that this is the means to help themselves, to help the nature and be a part of, because we are part of nature. And that is why that we don't have to actually describe every single goal, because it's so obvious actually that the humanity can do it. It's not a company going to do it on behalf of anybody. There is nobody gonna do this on behalf of anybody. We have to do it. That is what I find. I've been trying to describe it, but I can see that when I describe things, they are not very academically presented. But I'm really talking feeling, and I think it works. And I can see that here I'm now having next week, I think, or just after Christmas, we are going to have a Zoom meeting with the Union of Industry, because they are talking about that the future will be development, progressive, development of things and new inventions and technology and whatever. But the thing is that will not happen without humanity doing it, because an idea of every single company, the idea happens in the head of one person somewhere. It does not happen with venture capital. Read anything except that Excel files. Some of them are clever, but with imagination. But imagination usually, in that sense, usually does not grow of venture capitalists. So I think it's very important to think about this. I hope you are positive about it.
Can I react on this?
No chance. Not a word from you more.
After the other, it's not possible.
No, I come to Gertrude a little bit later. First, your question, Ali. So, universal, and it's yeah, a synonym would be global. I have no problem with that, but I think we should let them decide. The United Nations, they should decide what adjectives they use. Universal would be good for them. But if we use universal basic income, then, you know, there's a lot of people are against globalization, and we want to speak to everybody, also to those against globalization.
But
they have reason to be against that. You know, they have some reason. So we want to speak to everybody, to all kinds of people. Also, there is the globalization movement, and there is and we want to be in contact, in dialogue with both of them, because there's extreme globalization is not necessarily good. So that is the question. Then to Gertrude, sorry, but I disagree with you in this point, and also with Hilde. I saw Hilde in the TED in Amsterdam. I saw her speech, and I disagree with that. Basic income is not only a tool; it's much more than that. It's a part of the goals. That let me explain it in this way. It's basic income is just there is no difference. All goals are important, you know, and you cannot support the other. They are all, but they are interconnected. And if you say this is the tool, a mean to reach the other goals, then it's not exactly what's not the situation. The situation is we have to have all these goals in our mind because they are connected. So you cannot say this is more important than the other. No, they are all. And if you underestimate one point, then you will have a problem with another point. You know, so you have to see it equally. That is my point.
Yeah. We agree to disagree, but the thing is that all the other goals, they are just we are not talking about what is the most important of the goals. I'm just saying that in order to abolish poverty, we need basic income. You take all of them, for all of them we need basic income, because we cannot do anything without the tools to do it. And that is why I say that the UBI is to do everything else. It is just like the water on a dry land. We cannot grow anything without water on the dry. And that is what I see, that the 70s are fantastic, but there are goals until they are executed. And they cannot be executed if we cannot participate in them, and we cannot participate in them until we have basic income. The basic income as such, we talk about it as a human right. It is not actually the money that is the human right, but the means to get the money, to get the livelihood that we are talking about. We need money to do. Definitely nobody gonna send us food and water and whatever we need. That is not in the picture anymore. We need money, cash in the hands of every single person around the world to help themselves to execute those goals. And without UBI, how are we going to do it? I cannot see it. The other ones are, of course, every single one is of great importance, everything. But without basic income, we cannot execute them. That is what I mean.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Eric, we will continue our discussion, but Ulrike was raising her hand. Dear Ulrike, did you change your mind? You are muted. Dear Ulrike,
Unmuted.
please unmute yourself. at the right bottom corner, if you go with your mouse, unmute will appear. Okay, maybe in the meantime we can hear Reinhard. Reinhard, would you like to continue?
Yes, sorry. Yes, I can continue. I actually follow. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Follow from what Gerdo is saying. I mean, Eric spoke about disagreements within the basic income movement, and I think yes, there have to be disagreements because people have different perspectives. If, for instance, the basic income is put as a goal 18, I will be strongly opposed to that because, first of all, it reminds me of our actual economic system where money becomes the main goal. And so 98% of our economy is occupied with making more money out of money rather than producing useful goods. And basic income as a goal leads to the misleading conception that an income will address our issues. If we have no sort of functioning ecological system, you will not get very far with any basic income functioning economy. You will not have anything, any use with a basic income. I mean, I come from Germany, and there we had inflation because people think to buy with the money, so then the products which you can buy become more and more expensive. So for me, a basic income is a tool or an institution for people to lead a decent life in society, but it's not a goal in itself. And as I said, I would be quite opposed to it because it is, in my opinion, misleading, but we can continue this discussion in a probably not here, other meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Reinhard. Hello, Klaus. Welcome. Klaus, would you like to add something? I guess, no, okay. Dear Ulrike, can you unmute yourself? No. Dear Eric, maybe we can hear Gerdur and then you can answer all of them. Okay?
Because what I think is the most very, very important, that is that when people think of UBI and they think of the 17 goals, then all is together. And if we put the logo in the center of a circular sign or icon of what do you call it, of and then there's UBI and SDG together in the center, then everybody, when you visualize it, just like you see think about Coca-Cola, you see the sign, the red letters, you think of the drink, you get thirsty. If you see an SGE always together somehow in your head, when it's visualized and you see it together, then you think about it together as a union. And I think that is very, very strong, because then it kind of gets into people. It's the only way to execute the goals. And I think that can be quite easily done. And that is our best promotion, because then we will be promoted, or UBI will be promoted. They're promoting SDG. And this can be done quite cleverly as a circular logo. And then you see that if it is on a yellow background, they use the energy, and the sun touches every single goal. We had this, I'm working on a project with it's called The Hidden World, and it's about nature. Vivan, I just sent you the book a few days ago. Finally. Anyway, I'm working about children's adventures so the kids and nature. Yesterday or 2 days ago, we had a horrible mudslide in one of the villages in the north. It was just like the world was ending, and that nobody died is a miracle. It went under the mud and the people were rescued, and we are sending them this doll which we are making, the doll of that is presenting nature and love and everything. And I want UBI to, that people when they see UBI, they feel that the same way. They feel the rescue is there and they are part of it. They are part of their own rescue. And we can only, I don't know why I was going to say something different in the beginning when I started to tell you about the disaster in Iceland, but Iceland is a very living organ on its own. We have no power. Here we are, but that's why I think UBI is extremely important.
Thank you, Gerdor. Eric, word is yours, but let me read the question from Ulrike too. She is requesting the date of the 52nd Congress you mentioned. Can you put into the chat box? This was her question.
50? What
52nd
Congress?
International Congress you mentioned, Euro something, you remember?
Which
in your
Congress?
presentation, in your presentation, there was a Congress.
International Eucharistic Congress.
Yeah, it's next year. Yeah, Eucharisticus. Yes, it's next year. Next year it
okay,
will
put the date into the chat box too. Okay.
Okay, I put it in the chat box. I put it in the chat box. So can I react on Reinhard and on Gerdor?
Sure. We are looking for it.
So you see, first, you see, I absolutely agree with Adrienne Göhler. What she is saying, sustainability and Entschleunigung, deceleration is very important. The deceleration means that we have to slow down. And then I come to Gerdor as well, said, so we will never reach, if we cannot manage the ecological sustainability, we will never reach to basic income. It's impossible. So there is huge problems with noise and virus. We never get there. So that is why ecological sustainability is a requirement. It's a requirement for basic income. Without, you will never get there. So if you have if you concentrate all the other...
I'm sorry, I want to stop you here, sorry, because I don't know, this is so far from anything that I ever thought. Because that it is a vital part. I just say that economy has to be linked to ecology. The economy and ecology should be sisters. They should be one unit. So I think that somehow I expressed it wrongly, or you understand me wrongly. So we are totally united on that. Totally united on that.
There is a misunderstanding, but
yes.
They may make it over. You see, the ecology is more important than basic income. Ecology, but it comes first comes ecology, and then comes
what I'm trying to tell you.
Basic income without and the sustainability. You know, it is what there is a big need. You have no sustainability without basic income, as that's true. She's saying the same thing. We are all in the same movement. We are not against basic income. So you must, that first come the ecology and then can come basic income, because basic income is social sustainability. But you don't have social, if you cannot manage the ecological sustainability, you will never reach sustainability.
What I'm trying to say is that ecology, there's a lot of people who really want to work on regreening the earth, permaculture, everything on nature, and really, if they have basic income, they have a chance to decide what they do, and we can have a lot more people, humanity, to work with us on.
I absolutely agree with that. But the point is, you have in all these institutions, you have a huge lobby. They all things deflection. They're all talking about things because they have other interests. Brussels or the United States is full of other persons. They have all other kinds of interests. That's why you haven't been there with my presentation, or you came late. I explained that if there is a lot of so-called Ostrich politics are talking about something else, they don't talk about the real problems. And that is they don't want to talk about the real problems. This is what I call ostrich policy, where you put your head into don't want to see the reality. And that is why we need basic income, and we need ecological sustainability. I agree with that both. I agree absolutely with basic income. So that's not the point.
Dear Eric, Klaus would like to make a contribution, I guess. Dear Klaus, please.
To this discussion, I want to add the following. If we want to make a transition of our societies now, then we need both at the same time. We need ecological and social transformation of our society at the same time. And now of them or fewer important. And what I have heard about the Sustainable Development Goals, Chapter 18, it is only a promote income more as until now, because it is certainly not yet worldwide discussed very, very much. So the Sustainable Development Goal I discussed. And if we add such a chapter, even if you mean, and this is certainly also correct, that climate crisis as the most important one, but nevertheless, also the social crisis is extremely important. And if we have a basic income, then people have time to think if they are living without fear, not to get money to get the next week, to think about other things, exactly sustainable things like climate crisis and so on. Thank you.
Dear Eric,
Can I say something?
Yes, please, Robin. I just saw your hand. Please, Robin.
I ask Eric, why does he think that the Sustainable Development Goal #1 is no poverty, and the second one is no hunger, the third one is good health?
What is the question? What is your question? What is your question?
I ask you why the first 4 of development goals are the first 4 and not the last 4. You have a basic. If you have a basic income, you can abolish the first 4.
Yes, but I explained.
I'm not agreeing with you.
I explained.
You explained, but I'm not agreeing with you.
No, it's okay. You can have a different. And I tell you came. Maybe you came also late in my.
No. I listened to the whole session of you.
Okay, then I explained that no poverty. Let me finish. No poverty or hunger stuff. It was already discussed a very long time ago. They never reached their goals. Even a peace, they never reach it.
No, exactly. And with a basic income, we can reach it.
They have always wars. There is a lobby. Nation, there is the industry lobby.
Yeah.
There's lobby.
So you have to do something about that.
What?
You have to do something about that and make a basic income lobby.
Robin, that's why we are here. That's why we have to we have to work together, not against us.
I'm not working against you, but you are working against the rest, because you don't want the basic income. You work first the ecological things.
Now
you cannot. There is people with hunger cannot be ecological. They cannot be that.
That is what I agree with. That that's not the point. I agree.
So
with
you
that.
are contradicting yourself.
that is why Adrian Göller said, I agree absolutely with that. We have to step forward by having all these points in our mind. That's why and the goal 18 was only strategy. How can we reach other people, new people? 18. You know, it's only a matter of strategy.
18, it's too late.
Dear Eric,
if we reach goal 18, we're all gone.
But then it's not. We will not decide. They will decide whether they accept goal 18 or not.
Dear friends,
it's not wait.
Eric, dear Eric, let's hear Claudia's contributions. She put certain things in the chat box. Claudia, would you like to share also? And then I would like to say a few things, and maybe we can continue afterwards.
I mean, I was just writing it on the chat because I have arrived late. I thought today was 10:30, and I'm always so bad with timing that, yeah, even though I come since a while. So I was just saying it like, basic income is what is going to deliver us from the market economy. And for me, it's the market economy that creates the ecological problem. The ecological problem is caused by the industry, is caused by the economy. And I mean, if you bring basic income, you're putting a sand into the works that will just make everything shift, and people will be fine to do what they want, which is not harm the nature. Nobody wants to harm the nature. Nobody wants to, you know, fuck the planet for reals. I mean, nobody wants that, but they do want money. But if they have money, then maybe thinking about something else, and maybe we can look in front of those people like saying, oh, but I have to do it because, you know, money. No, you don't. You have basic income. So that's not true. It's not true anymore. It's a shift. That's the change shift that we're trying to look forward with basic income. And for me, all the debate on ecology now is going after, for me, it's going after basic income, because for them, that's going to allow us to do everything we need to do for ecology. The ecological problem is an economic problem. It's, you know, the industrials who are breaking everything. It's greed. It's not because they want to break nature, you know. So we have to find the little thing that will change that greed system that we're all part of now, because we're on the marketplace pretty much, and this is what corrupts us all. That's my take.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
Dear Eric, I would like to say a few words, and then maybe Reinhard can contribute, and then you can continue. My point is maybe quite similar with Claudia's contributions. I think there's a correlation between ecological sustainability and social sustainability. I mean, there are some there's a huge common zone. So I think, as Klaus also mentioned, we should consider both of them at the same time. But definitely, universal basic income will help ecological sustainability. So there's a huge correlation, I guess. But my point at the very beginning, I just wanted to have a clear understanding of universal, because when we talk about universal, we are talking about global. I mean, some of our friends are thinking that it means global, but in my understanding,
may I just say, just on this point, just to
which one?
Just to butt in here, I believe universal is not global; it's societal.
Pardon?
Okay, if you. So I would say that if you want to say global, then use the word global. If you say universal, then you're talking about societal. Now, if you want to talk about the global society, then fine. But usually we're talking about nations. And so universal is universal to that society. That's my opinion.
Paul, that's what I was trying to say. In fact, universal does not mean global. Global is a kind of geographical definition, but universal is something totally different. When I hear universal, I understand men and women working or without any job, or who has any social insurance or do not. I mean, all the people under this umbrella. For example, when we talk about universal democracy principles, this doesn't mean that it's a global something. It's a set of principles which people agree on. So we shouldn't use universal as global, because in that case we mentioned that there will be a universal basic income, which means global basic income, which means there will be only one country, one governing country. This is something totally different than what are on the table, I think. So universal, because we have similar problems in Turkey too. At the very beginning, we were campaigning with universal basic income, but later on we understood that people are confusing universal with global. And then we made a study with academicians, and we prepared 5 alternatives, and there was a big survey. And at the end of the survey, in which 600 people contributed, we said citizens' basic income. So universal, we shouldn't take it as global. It's just something else. But regarding the SDGs, I would like to say, you said goal number 18. It may be goal number 0, for example, or it may be a hidden goal. So it's not, it's there, its soul is there, but it's not mentioned as a goal. Or it may be an umbrella goal, considering the 17 concepts. But maybe better than goals, it may be the mother of sustainable development solutions. There is a network called STSN. Let me share it in the screen. Okay, here's, is it possible for, I guess you can see it now. So it may be goal number 0. It's a possibility, but maybe hidden goal is better, or umbrella goal is much better. But the best is mother of STS. I mean, Sustainable Development Solutions. And there's a network called Sustainable Development Solutions Network. I think this is a big opportunity. If we can launch basic income as mother of STS, I mean, Sustainable Development Solutions, maybe we can create some synergy between UBI movement and the Sustainable Development Solutions Network. And this network is being chaired by a professor, which I had the chance to meet late last year, 2019. And I know he is a friend of Peter Knight too. Maybe we should invite him to one of our meetings and try to figure out what are the collaboration possibilities. But my point is, regarding Eric's presentation and why we are discussing this, it's not important whether it's a sustainable goal or not, whether it is 17 or 18 or 35 or 60. But the important thing is that we should create public awareness. We should try to move toward our direction. So any kind of discussions from the sustainability perspective is very useful to strengthen the UBI movement. That's why I am very thankful to Eric. Let me stop here. Thank you. Reinhard, I think you were raising your hand. Yes, dear Reinhard, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to contribute one thought, because I mean, personally, I believe that basic income encourage and support people so that people can support and protect the environment and the planet. However, if you look at the evidence is not there. At least I didn't find it. So I mean, we can. If you have got any evidence, any scientific evidence, then I would like to get it, because we are trying to organize a discussion around this topic, as there are the opponents who say actually basic income, consumerism, and just make matters worse. So we need to be aware of this. And as I said, if you have got strong or good evidence besides your belief, this is also my belief, then please let me know, or I'm very interested. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Reinhard. Eric, would you like to answer these questions, or would you like to hear Valeria too?
I wait for Paul. Paul is after Paul.
Paul,
I say Paul.
No, you mean Paul Harnett or Paul Ross?
Yeah, thank you. It's Paul Ross.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question about the evidence. From the way we see it here, if we go back to the Industrial Revolution, and if we go back before that, if you look at human society, we had hunters and gatherers, and then we had subsistence farmers. And what they both shared in common is that they both had direct control over their basic needs. along came the Industrial Revolution, where that changed. And all of a sudden, we no longer had direct control over our basic needs. So right now, we probably, in a country, in the developed world, we probably have potential productivity per person about 10,000-fold what was the case 60. So if you take that into account, that on the one hand, we have the productivity. I mean, all these people obviously were somehow living, somehow had a basic income in a sense, except they had direct control. So the difference is now we're 10,000 times potentially as rich, and yet we now no longer have direct control. To me, this is the juxtaposition. This is the problem. Survival, what we call a survival income, which to me, really puts the emotion into it. Basic income, I get lost in that. But a survival income, I understand what that means. Anyway, so to me, that's the science. We have a juxtaposition. We're no longer in direct control of our survival needs.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Maybe we can hear Valeria too, and then Eric, you can answer all of them. Okay, dear Valeria, please. Dear Valeria, we cannot hear you.
Now?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to share some ideas about this universal and unconditional, if I may. How we did that? We have universal basic income, and of course we thought about it that it's connected also with global. It can be connected with global, but it's nice because in that case we have a vision. Once we will have a global basic income. On the other hand, universal we use as all in that community. It allows us to go partially through society. So right now we are talking about child UBI. So for every child, and then now we are talking for self-employed UBI. It means all self-employed. Why is that important? Because in that case, we still can have, in a way, we think unconditional, it's like more hypocritical than universal, because there are always some conditions. Are you part of society? For children, for instance, well, it allows us that we have conditions that they have to go to school. Or we can have conditions that they have to have health insurance. I mean, I'm like the big points. But that was actually the how we managed to make some kind of content to the name, even though it's forced to us from outside, I would say. But nevertheless, we stick to it, and I believe that's why we don't have any substitutes in Slovenia. We have only one name, and it's good because there is no misunderstandings. Thank you.
Thank you, Valeria. Yeah, Eric, maybe.
Klaus first.
Klaus first.
Klaus,
Yeah,
I wait for Klaus.
Maybe you can.
Yes, I write down.
Dear Klaus, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I have listened to Reinhard Litz and I have listened to Valeria. So, in my opinion, even if we have no evidence to Reinhard Litz, yes, that we can convince people by unconditional basic income, vision unconditional basic income, and that is a very strong point. And therefore, I am for the chapter 18 as an own chapter, unconditional basic income promotion with this term. And I think that helps to get the vision widespread later. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Klaus. There is no other contributions, dear Eric. So word is yours, please.
Yeah. Okay. I try to react to several comments. So in my representation, I talked about there are many of them, and there are also many kinds of basic incomes worldwide. So in America, they speak already about freedom dividend and so on. That many we can say there's no problem with that. We can have 1 million different basic incomes. I have no problem. In every country, every political unit could have their own definition. But on the principles, we have to agree. One movement. So we agree with that without basic income, there will be no sustainability. I agree with that. That's not the point. That's not the problem. Basic income is about care, about accepting that there are other people with others. It's about less selfishness, less egocentrical society, less ego. That is basic income, that you can care and share with other people. That's the main thing. And I think we agree with that. There's no problem with that, in my opinion. We have to, in the movement, avoid a little bit to the use of adjectives, a little bit avoiding. Sometimes we have to use it. If you go to the United Nations and you ask them what kind of basic income, then they will say, okay, we can accept that. Or somebody is saying unconditional, that is okay. That is the basic thing. But we should not, and that is what I'm trying to say, we should not struggle within the movement, then we will never get there. So, but if we start here to fight about words, then we will never reach this vision of having something united. What united us is the basic income. That's my point of view.
Thank you very much, dear Eric. Any other friends who would like to contribute, or I'm trying to, Paul, dear Paul, please unmute yourself.
Just quickly to respond. I mean, I know the history. We've always called this the universal basic income. I think it's a terrible name. I mean, basic is utterly unimaginative. And to me, what do we all want to do? We all have to do. And simply it is to survive. And this is what this thing is. It's a universal survival income. And if people really grasp that, if they really get it, you're not going to be saying whether it's number 18 or number 60. You're going to be saying this is a prerequisite to all those UN SDGs. It's a prerequisite. And that's got to survive before we can do anything.
Dear Eric, do you have any answer? Or
yes, I agree with that. No
maybe
problem.
after Diana is raising her hand. Dear Diana, please unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry I came in late, and I unfortunately didn't get to listen to the presentation. I'd like to read the point that I think the case, and I understand the topic is still behind calling for basic income as an 18th development goal of the and as I've written in the email thread, from my point of view, I think our case is so much stronger because if we promote basic income as one of the helps achieve the 17 existing development goals. And so when we can, avoid burdening governments with another target to achieve, if we tell them this tool, this social policy can actually help you in addressing, if not all, many of the 17 goals. And so if our goal is to advocate and promote and raise awareness of basic income, it doesn't have to be an 18th goal, so this is just, again, just a small point, because also, like, adding a goal is a really, really huge undertaking. It might take 20 years to add one goal of these negotiations, because it's 200 countries having to agree to add it, and the consensus is far from there at the government levels on the of basic income as a solution.
Hello.
So yeah, just this one contribution. Thank you. And this is my daughter.
Thank you.
Hello, daughter. Can I say something?
Sure, Eric, maybe after Robin too, because
yeah,
you all answer all together.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's nice to have a discussion about technology, and Eric started with his presentation with all kinds of terms, but it's really about basic income without any adjectives, just basic income. You always have to explain what it is. Explain what it is, what you want, and if you all explain the same thing, that it is individual and that it is high enough and that it is without control and all that kind of criteria. I just posted the 4th of criteria in the chat. You always have to explain it. So it doesn't matter what kind of adjective you said before BI. It's always have to talk with people about it. So you can't say this is it. It is always an explanation of a new world, a new vision, an ideology thing or whatever. It's you cannot have it. It's not a loose thing. You have to be. You have to be excited about it, and then when you are excited about it, people get excited also. Doesn't matter how you call it.
Yes, but just I'm a little bit reacting on Diana's comment. In all these goals, it's mainly human rights, but goal 18 would be already economic, and this is more concrete than all the other poverty, peace, and so on. It is so unconcrete. But basic income is goal 18. Is here? There is it's tangible. It's measurable. Basic income. It's an economic right. So it's a new step, and we have to provocate them. We have to say, so that was enough. We still have hunger, we still have wars, we still have poverty. So we want to do something against it. That's why we have goal 18. It's more concrete. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Or it was from the previous new one. Okay, please.
Yes, maybe basic income, but is there one government today, right now, that will back it as a goal? I'm not sure there is, and so it's really, I think, not use of our resources. And the thing is, I mean, if governments are not convinced of basic income, there's no way they will support it as an SDG on the first level. The second level, I think our efforts used to convince governments as a first step at the local level, at the national level. And then, as a long-term step, then they might consider it as an SDG. And I think this network, our efforts going from the national levels are best used. And then, and this is how the UN would work, imposing a basic income as a goal from the UN is not that the UN will agree to do. The mandates of the various UN agencies goes the other way around. If governments ask the UN for advice on how to implement basic income, for example, the UN agencies are compelled to act on this request. But the other way around doesn't really work. And it's much faster when the request comes from governments. I've worked overseas, and for any project that you need an official request from the national institution or the national, like the ministry that is more like in whatever field, is agriculture and so. So without this national request, it can't move. So this is always a prerequisite. And so in this sense, working from the national government, in my opinion, I think makes more sense. And I know that UNDP now, so the UN Development Program has already, which is now mandated to address the socioeconomic ramification of COVID-19. UNDP has already received from governments to speak and discuss, the idea of a basic income. And I think this is the most effective way to go about, this spreading awareness and governments, I think, at the local level.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Eric, may I say a few words?
Yes, sure.
Okay. First of all, I personally would like to thank you a lot because you put this issue on the table. So it's good that we are discussing this. Secondly, there are 17 SDGs or more or less. It's not the important thing. The important thing is whether we will be able to reach to them or not. Diana said that the governments should make such an attempt. But for example, 6-7 months ago, we sent a letter to the UN and more than 90 networks signed it. Then why did we try this? So to try something doesn't mean that we will reach to it. To try something, maybe it will give us an opportunity to receive coverage in the media, who knows? Maybe it will create awareness regarding the correlation between the basic income movement and the Sustainable Development Solutions Network. And I think the problem is, maybe we can do some meaningless, when I say meaningless, which we will not be able to reach, but while trying it, we can have some gains too. But my point is, maybe the best thing is, I put into the chat box too, I would like to repeat once again, maybe it's not goal 0, hidden goal, it's not that good too, umbrella goal is not that good too, but mother of sustainable development solutions. Then maybe we can capture the sustainable development goals. So mother of sustainable development solutions. And there's a huge network. I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But we have to think about this and we have to somehow create a kind of synergy or cooperation between these people who are working for them, for sustainable development goals, and people who are working for basic income. No other contributions? Dear Eric, would you like to say anything else? Or
there's somebody, I can't read the name. Hello. She has to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute.
Dear friend, please unmute yourself. You have okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh yes, okay. We can hear you.
Good morning. It's Jen from on Vancouver Island. I guess I'm a food security activist, and we're watching the Arctic warming, and there's a blue ocean event coming really soon. And when that happens, it's not going to be pretty. So I don't think there's time for country by country universal basic income. There isn't time. We have to, between all of us, structure something and put it out and then let that be, because there's going to be panic, just like there was with the pandemic. There's going to be panic. But if we have the structure out there, I filled out the survey and I talked about change in the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Trade Organization that will facilitate this universal basic income, because we don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other contributions, especially after the last contribution? Diana, please.
Does anybody have any questions about that? Do you all know what the Blue Ocean event is?
Claudia was.
Diana, then afterwards Claudia. We cannot read your name, unfortunately. Maybe Diana, you can continue, and then Claudia, and then we will continue.
Just on that, to quote, he recently has been saying that it will take the first country to implement a basic income, and then it will be sort of a motivator and countries to implement it. And so if we have a first adopter, the following ones will be quite quick. And I think that's a really encouraging thing to think about for us. And the previous person said, we have no time, and pressures is on everything, on the ecology, on food, on people's resilience. So this is maybe something we can keep in mind.
I agree with that.
Thank you. Claudia, would you like to add anything? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I mean, like as soon as I heard about the Earth income movement, I was like, wow, yes, that has to be done that way, and it'd be great. It's like Esperanto. I was really enthusiastic about that when I was young, like yes, but didn't happen, unfortunately. Yeah, if we can create a structure at the same time as we do it locally, because I really think I think it's called the Rippler effect. I'm not sure about that term because I'm not Anglophone, but I think it's no effect. It's like when someone, like even when Yang in the States was proposing that topic and presenting himself as an in the elections, he was made like a huge dissemination of the topic. So sometimes it's just little things like that that will connect the dots, and that's why I'm saying let's not lose time about the terms, because we're already lost in the different terms and lost about it. So that's why basic income is safe. That's the one I use the most. The one I cherish is UBI, but I mean it's just personal taste, and I'm just in the scene for a very, very short time. So soon I was like, too much. Now we're in communication, so I know what how branding is important, but we're not at that period now. We're not in a time where we're branding. We're just raising awareness like crazy. Oh, it's starting to pick up, and if we can start to do something. I don't know if honeymoon retreat is your name. It's not your name, obviously. While saying it, I realize it's not. If you could change it, it's good. But if we could start something, start working on that, having a subgroup, subcommittee that we have working groups on things. If you have ideas on how to do this, because you seem to have, like you were saying, do you have questions? Would you see the start of this? And obviously, let's be realistic. It's going to be a start. It's not going to be something that's going to create a Rippler effect, unfortunately. So it's going to take time to get structured, and it's all going to be volunteers unless you find like some big companies that will, you know, base it on. And if you talk it to some company, it'd be interesting. So yeah, I would be interested in hearing you.
Well, I think we need to be familiar with what those 3 organizations actually do on the global picture. The World Bank, the World Trade Organization, and the International Monetary Fund. They could be restructured with our needs in mind, human needs, which is to, number 1, the most important thing right now is to sink carbon. We don't really have a choice about that, but we have to sink carbon into the soil. So one of the aspects of the UBI is that it will allow people to re-ruralize our lands. And on land, they can begin to sink carbon into the soil by the way that they farm. So I don't think the UBI can stand alone. We have to have all of these, we have to have our pocket when we speak. And we have to give direction, because the panic is going to hit. And if we've already planted the seed, then there's the potential that that plant will grow. A subcommittee is a good idea. We want people who are familiar with those organizations and maybe reach out to somebody in those organizations and pull them in to the discussion. The things I've thought about for many, many years, and now seems like the time. I've talked about it before, and it just seemed, you know, most people would say, wow, Jen, you're dreaming in Technicolor. But, you know, we don't have much choice. We have to put out a plan. We have to have a plan to transition. Now, the other part of the plan is reevaluating. You know, we have stock markets is value profit. But what if we turn that into a 3-dimensional cube where X is profit, Y is environment, and Z is community? So if you could write that as a meeting, make the cube and look at that, that's a different way to value everything on the planet. So, you know, it's just a graphic. We can talk about it. But I think we can reimagine those 3 groups, I call them the triad, that those 3 groups implement the universal. We have to think bigger than we've ever thought before. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dear friends, any other contributions? Robin? No.
Yeah, maybe.
Ah, okay. I just saw you.
It's nice to see every time new people with new, fresh ideas are really fresh, because they are old, decennia old. But they come up with the ideas. So I thought I was in 1980. I thought I was the only one thinking about basic income. But later on, more people thinking about it. And there's still more people thinking about it. And there's still more people inventing themselves, the basic income. So we're just a bucket of water, and still over the top, but it's not streaming yet.
Dear Eric, please.
I was going to reflect one other point. For me, these ecological problems, all this, and not only ecological, but also of wars and so on, and basic income. For me, it's all the same. It's not, we cannot separate them. So the main goal is to have peace, human rights. It's for me, it's one. And we cannot, it's not good if we separate them too much. Then we are going to discuss, we have we have to, and certain basic pillars, that basic income is a part of the sustainable goals. You can put it aside, you can say, you can talk about the strategies we are using, but we are basically, it's a unit. It is a unit. It's and then it will be a struggle. I'm sure it will be a struggle to implement as a goal 18 years. They will change it in 2013. They will rechange all the goals. And so we need a lot of time, and it is a long struggle. We are there, but it's all with connected with each other. That is what was in my mind.
Thank you, Eric. Dear Claudia, please unmute yourself.
Yes, I think it's the problem of the egg and the hen and the egg. I don't know how to call it. I was recently into a group that is about degrowth, and we were having a similar egg and hen kind of debate. What's more important, collapsology or degrowth? Collapsology I thought was really important, like to get the people to know how bad it is and everything. I was on the other side. I was on the side of like degrowth is more geared towards solutions. So here again, I'm on the same place. For me, the ecology, basic income doesn't work. For me, basic income is the first step. It's not just one step, or it's not the 18th step. It's the first step to have all the time in the world, because it's a luxury. It's the time, and it's only rich people who can really care about ecology. Like I was working in a art environment, art organization that. Center, so really low key, low budget, non-profit and everything, and really cool, based on digital media, so very advanced and very progressive, but they didn't recycle. And I was appalled. I was like, what? Recycle? I haven't seen that ever. He said, you know, it's a rich people's thing. We don't have time for that. We don't have like, we can't do it. We don't have the resource to do it. So for me, basic income is the thing to allow everyone to get on board, and everyone will want to be on board. I mean, it's young people, they want things to be better, you know, they really do. So if you give them time, stopping what we can do. We can do direct democracy, which is my second very important topic right after after basic income. We're going to have time with basic income to do direct democracy, which is our democracy like a lot. We're all going to be like on the lookout of what's going on. We're going to participate in it because we're going to have time for it. So I think like all those things are related. We have to find one thing that is going to, and for me, it's basic income. Like, so for me, it was like the logical step. And my forward goal is direct democracy. So, and this for sure will bring like ecology to the forefront. And to live on the earth, you know, there's only lunatics that wants to go live on Mars, you know. So, there's some of them, but let's not talk about those. We're gonna lose too much time.
Dear Klaus, please. Thank you, Claudia. Dear Klaus.
Yes, thank you, Claudia. I agree with you, and for me, is also unconditional basic income the first step to do at the same time as all these movements for degrowth and so on also have to do. But I think that is a very clear thing. And if you look to our ECI basic income, that is at the moment is the only concrete legal base for further discussion to make it real. And that, therefore, I find is that our ECI on UBI will be successful and will lead to further real consequences in all, at least at the first, perhaps, but nevertheless, we want to have it worldwide, certainly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Klaus. I guess no other contributions. Eric, do you have anything to say lastly, or okay?
Thank you. No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear friends, let me share the screen very quickly regarding the agenda of our meeting. So this was the second agenda item, and we finished this agenda item. There was another one by Paul Harnett, but Paul, he was not sure he can manage it or not, and we said we better put into the agenda. If it's not possible, maybe we can discuss it in the coming meetings. So we will not, he's not here, so we will not go into this agenda item. The thing I would like to say is there's a survey whose link was sent to you by the invitation mail. Do you want me to go over the questions? It's very simple, very short. If you kindly answer these questions, then we can modify the New Year's meetings accordingly. I mean, should we do it twice a month or once a month? What about the timing of the meetings, etc., etc.? Very simple one. Please answer these questions. So we are finished with our agenda. Is there any news from our friends or any networks or any working groups? If there is, we would like to hear. Otherwise, we can close our session. Any news from any friend? Oh, dear Claudia, please.
Sorry. It's not news, actually. I want to know the survey that you talked about. You talked about a survey or not? Or Ali, you talked about some questions about how the meetings and stuff?
1 second. Let me share very quickly in a second.
Is it the previous survey?
No. This is quite new here. Yeah, okay. So this is a survey. The survey is regarding the future of our meetings for the year 2021. The first question is regarding the frequency of our meetings. Shall we continue with the existing formula, which is the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month, or should it be once a month?
Where is it though? Can you give me a link? Or I'm sorry,
sure.
Ali, but you're telling me the questions, but if I could just access it, it'd be better so I can answer.
Sure. It was in the invitation email also, but I will put into the chat box too. But the last 3 questions are also very important. Let me go over the questions and then I will put into the chat box too. Is it okay? Claudia?
The other way around would be great. So I can,
okay, I can put
unless you share the screen. I don't know if you did.
1 second. Stop
you shared your screen, so it's okay.
1 second. Okay, now it's in the chat box.
Excellent, thanks so much.
The last 3 questions is very, very important. We would like to receive contributions regarding the agendas of our future meetings. Okay, then no news from, dear Valeria, you have some news, I guess.
Yeah, I would like to say something about the question survey. You see the timing. I mean, I know only that it's good timing for Europe. I agree with that. You see these GMT 1430, but I don't know about 8 and 12 post-meridian. This is for the other side of the globe. I believe they should tell me what would they prefer, you know? I believe this 8 o'clock and 12, it was meant that Australia and Korea and China could come in. I believe they should tell us what is convenient for them.
But it's going to be different for everyone. Like for me, night is perfect. You know, like some other people, it's more morning. I think in the country where the person is from, or if you have an idea of where the person is from, that'll be really important information. You have to do like an average of everyone's liking. But if most people are in Europe, then would pick like the most, you know, convenient for people, the most of the people that are there. It's hard.
Yeah, it's quite complicated issue, but we send this survey to about maybe 700-800 friends. So they are from all around the world. So if they participate to the survey, we will at least have an idea. But we have to receive the contributions from the South Korea, Japan. There are very interesting things ongoing. Indonesia, New Zealand. We will see the results. And we extended the deadline to 5th of January. There was a request because of the Christmas time and the New Year time. So it's better to give 5 more days before having the results of the survey. Okay, that's all done. Thank you very much. Nice to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ali, for hosting these. You're great. Thank you very much.
Dear Olaf, to tell the truth, I am learning a lot.
Thank you.
I am more than happy to.
Thank you so much.
Very much so. I agree.
The presentation which will be made by Paul is a very interesting proposal. And he will talk about this during the coming meetings, hopefully. And he prepared a long draft model for it. And it will maybe make our meetings more, I can say, interesting.
They're already interesting.
Wow, thank you.
I'm very much looking forward to your improvements.
Okay, Merry Christmas and have a nice year.
Thank
you very much.
Start into 21.
Merry wishes.
Safe and sound.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.